The stars stretched endlessly across the dark canvas of space. Silence reigned, broken only by the soft hum of Earth's human war fleet. Commander Arlen stood on the bridge of the flagship Intrepid, eyes scanning the console for any sign of life or threat. They had been traveling for hours, tracing a faint beacon signal that came from the far edges of human-colonized space. It started as a simple distress call, a fragmented message sent through old communication channels. The words were jumbled, but the urgency was clear. Help! Colony under attack. We cannot hold. Arlen felt a cold shiver run down his spine. This is unlike anything we've received before, he muttered, more to himself than to anyone else. He had led countless missions, but something about this call felt wrong. Fragile, desperate. The crew worked quietly but efficiently. Technician Mara scanned the beacon, trying to stabilize the signal. Commander, she said, the signal is strange. It doesn't match any known enemy frequencies. It's almost like it's trying to hide itself. Hide itself? Arlen asked, raising an eyebrow. Yes, Mara replied. The beacon pulses in irregular intervals, and the encoding looks alien or maybe a mix of alien and human tech. Whoever sent this knows what they're doing. A sudden alarm blared, jerking everyone to attention. A small sensor drone picked up a shadow moving just outside the fleet's sensor range. Everyone froze. Could be nothing, said Lieutenant Joro, trying to calm the tension. Space is full of debris and cosmic radiation. Arlen shook his head. No, this is deliberate. Something is watching us. The fleet had jumped into this sector, hoping for a routine rescue operation. But now, a sense of unease settled over them like a heavy fog. Even the veterans on board were tense. Hours passed, and the fleet approached the coordinates of the beacon. On the bridge, the holographic display showed a distant planet. Its surface was scarred and darkened, like it had been through a war. Cities had collapsed into ruins, and the once green landscapes were now barren and smoldering. Mara's hands flew over the console. Commander, I don't know how to say this. The planet, it's deserted, but the beacon is still active. Arlen's jaw tightened. Then someone must be hiding. We need to find them before it's too late. The human fleet slowed as they descended into orbit. Sensors picked up life signs, very few, scattered, and faint. The readings were erratic, almost as if the life forms were in hiding or altered. Sir, Joro said, pointing at the console, we're not alone. Something large, something moving fast, is approaching us from the dark side of the planet. Arlen leaned forward, heart racing. The dark shape on the screen moved with deliberate speed and purpose. Its outline was unlike any human warship he had seen. Sleek, almost organic. It glinted faintly under the planet's light. Prepare for possible engagement, Arlen ordered. But do not fire unless necessary. I want to know what we're dealing with first. The fleet's communications team tried again to contact the colony, but only static replied. The tension on the bridge thickened with each failed attempt. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the strange warship made its presence undeniable. Sensors confirmed it was armed, heavily, and its weapon signature was unfamiliar, deadly. Arlen clenched his fists. This is no ordinary pirate raid or rebel attack. Whatever it is, it's been waiting for us. As the fleet adjusted its formation, a transmission finally broke through. It was the beacon, faint and distorted, but the message was clear. Earth, we are not alone. Do not trust the Dark Ones. They are here. The transmission cut off mid-sentence. Static. Silence. Mara turned pale. Commander! The dark ship, it's moving closer. Faster than our fleet can react. Alarms blared again. Red lights flashed. The bridge crew worked furiously, but the dark ship's approach was relentless, almost predatory. Arlen's mind raced. Initiate evasive maneuvers. Shields up, weapons on standby. Keep a safe distance, but do not lose sight of it. The fleet shifted, twisting and banking through space, but the dark ship mirrored their movements with frightening precision. Every tactic, every maneuver was anticipated. Then, something impossible happened. The dark ship projected a pulse of energy, invisible to the naked eye, but devastating to the fleet's sensors. Consoles flickered, Navigation systems glitched, and minor hull breaches began to appear on several ships. "This is too advanced," Joro whispered. "We've never seen technology like this." Arlen nodded grimly. "Stay focused. We survive, we learn. That is the only way to fight it." The fleet managed to stabilize their ships, but the danger was far from over. The beacon signal continued to flicker, almost like it was pleading. And somewhere on that scar planet, survivors waited, hidden, terrified, possibly unaware that the fleet had arrived. Commander Arlen stared out into the void. "We came here to help, but we may have walked into a nightmare. Prepare everyone for combat. This is only the beginning." And as the Dark Warship lingered in the shadows, silent and menacing, the crew realized a terrifying truth. The beacon had called for help, but it also called something far worse. The stars around them felt darker now, the void heavier. The human fleet, the best defense of Earth, was about to face an enemy it barely understood, and every decision they made in the next few minutes could decide the fate of the colony and perhaps humanity itself. The human fleet hung in the cold void above the scarred planet, tense and silent. Commander Arlen stood on the bridge of the Intrepid, eyes fixed on the dark silhouette slowly orbiting below. The ship was unlike anything the human fleet had ever seen. Its black hull shimmered faintly under the planet's light, curves twisting in ways that defied conventional design. It was alive, almost. "Sir," Lieutenant Joro said, pointing at the display, It's not moving like a normal ship. Look at the pattern. It's studying us." Arlen narrowed his eyes. "It's calculating. It's waiting." Mara's fingers danced over the console. "Commander, our sensors are picking up drones launching from the dark ship. They're small but fast and intelligent. They're not just attacking, they're scanning us." Arlen's stomach tightened. "Intelligent drones? Then it's more than a warship. It's a command center. We need eyes on the ground. I want a reconnaissance team ready." Joro swallowed hard. "Sir, this is dangerous. The drones are faster than any fighter we have. And the ship's shields," his voice trailed off. Arlen's jaw tightened. "I know, but we cannot let the colony's signal go unanswered. Prepare the reconnaissance pod." Minutes later, a small shuttle, sleek and fast, separated from the fleet. On board were Arlen's best, Lieutenant Joro, Tactical Officer Lyra, and Drone Specialist Mara. Their mission was clear: gather intelligence, avoid detection, and understand the Dark Warship's capabilities. As they approached the planet's orbit, the Dark Ship's drones swarmed around them, moving like a living cloud. The shuttle's shields flared against the first wave of attacks, but the crew remained calm, relying on evasive maneuvers they had practiced countless times. "Keep your eyes on the readings," Arlen instructed through the comm link, though his voice barely masked the tension in his chest. The drones moved in synchronized patterns, probing the shuttle systems without fully attacking. It was as if the Dark Warship was curious, studying the humans the way a predator studies its prey. Lyra adjusted the navigation. "It's almost playful, but deadly. They're testing us, finding our weaknesses." Mara tapped at her console furiously. "I'm trying to track the drone's control signals." "Commander, the ship is adaptive. Every move we make, it adjusts. If we keep this up too long, we'll be trapped." Joro swallowed hard. "Then we need to strike a balance. Gather intel, but avoid provoking it fully." Suddenly, the Dark Warship emitted a pulse of energy, invisible but powerful. Sensors flickered, and the shuttle rocked violently. Warnings blared. "Brace!" Lyra shouted. The shuttle spiraled, but the pilot regained control. "We're being mapped," Mara said, her voice tight. "It's recording our every movement, our speed, our patterns, our tactics." The shuttle crept closer to the Dark Warship, careful, calculated. From the observation window, the crew could see the warship's hull. Sleek black metal that seemed almost organic, with curves that caught the faint starlight and reflected it in strange, eerie patterns. Lights pulsed along its surface like veins, and the energy emitted a faint hum that resonated deep in their bones. Joro broke the silence. "It's beautiful, but deadly. It's a machine and a predator at once." Lyra nodded, scanning for openings. "There, I see a small docking bay on the lower hull, possibly abandoned. Could be a chance to gather more data. Mara hesitated. Commander, I don't like it. We're flying right into its shadow. If it's adaptive, it could be a trap. Joro spoke up, urgency in his voice. We have no choice. We need information. This ship could destroy our entire fleet if we don't understand it. The shuttle adjusted its course, weaving through the swarm of drones. The Dark Warship seemed to watch, waiting. Then, almost imperceptibly, it moved. One moment it was static. The next it glided closer, closing the distance in ways that defied conventional physics. Sir, Mara whispered, staring at the controls. It's faster than anything we've ever encountered. It's predicting our path before we even take it. Suddenly, one of the drones broke formation, striking the shuttle with a bolt of energy. Alarms screamed as shields flared. The impact rattled the ship, and systems flickered dangerously. Return fire, Joro shouted, activating the shuttle's defensive pulse. The energy blast barely grazed the drone, which disintegrated into fragments, but more drones replaced it almost instantly. It's a fight we can't win. Lyra yelled, we're outnumbered and outclassed. Arlen's voice came over the comm link, steady and commanding. You're gathering intelligence. Avoid full engagement. Extract what you can. Survival is a priority. The crew nodded grimly, forcing themselves to stay calm. Every move had to be calculated. Every decision could mean life or death. As they maneuvered closer, they detected faint signs of life aboard the Dark Warship. Creatures or machines? The readings were inconclusive, but something inside the ship moved with purpose. Commander, Mara said quietly, whatever is controlling this warship, it's not just human, or at least not entirely. The energy signatures, biological and technological, are merged. It's alive in ways we can't understand. Joro swallowed hard. Then this is more than a battle. This is an experiment, and we're the subjects. The shuttle hovered near the docking bay, scanning for entry points. The Dark Warship's drones moved closer, almost beckoning them. Suddenly, a flash of light illuminated the shuttle. The bay opened, inviting almost mockingly. Sensors went haywire as the shuttle system struggled to cope with the energy radiating from the ship. Prepare for entry, Lyra said, her voice tight. We get in, we scan, we leave. Fast. The shuttle edged into the docking bay. Inside, the corridor was dark, metallic, with walls that pulsed faintly with an eerie light. The crew felt a strange hum resonating through their bodies. This place, it's like it's alive, Mara whispered. I can feel it monitoring us, studying us. Joro nodded, gripping his console. Stay sharp. We don't know what's ahead. This could be a trap or worse, a lure. They moved deeper into the ship, scanning. Data streamed in: blueprints, weapon schematics, energy readings. It was incredible. Technology beyond anything Earth had ever built. Then, a sudden sound echoed to the corridor, a whisper, faint and metallic, almost human. You should not be here. The crew froze. The voice repeated, slightly louder. You cannot survive this. Joro gripped his sidearm. It's sentient. The ship is alive. And it knows we're here. Alarms blared suddenly. The Dark Warship systems reacted violently to their presence. Lights flashed, doors slammed shut, and the shuttle's internal scanners detected multiple life forms moving in the shadows. Mara shouted, Commander, we need extraction now. Back on the fleet, Arlen's voice was tense. You copy? Extraction immediately. Get out, report what you can. This is not a rescue mission anymore, it's survival. The crew scrambled, racing back through the corridors as the Dark Warship seemed to shift and change around them. It was alive, moving, responding. Drones attacked, corridors shifted. The shuttle shook violently as they returned to the docking bay. As they launched back into orbit, the crew caught a final glimpse of the Dark Warship's hull. It seemed to pulse, almost laughing, almost alive. And then, as quickly as it had attacked, it disappeared into the shadows of space. The shuttle returned to the fleet, battered and shaken. Crew members were exhausted, pale and silent. The data they had gathered was invaluable, but the terror of what they had faced lingered in their minds. Arlen stared at the screens, his expression grim. This ship, it's not just a weapon. It's an intelligence, something beyond our understanding. And it's out there, watching us, learning from us. Mara shook her head, disbelief in her voice. Commander, we were lucky to escape. The fleet, the colony, no one is safe if it decides to strike. Joro's face was pale. It knows us now. It knows our tactics, our weaknesses. We may not get a second chance. Arlen's jaw tightened. Then we prepare. We survive. We learn. And we strike back when the time is right. Humanity does not run from the darkness. Not now. Not ever. The stars around them glimmered, cold and distant. The Dark Warship had vanished, for now. But its presence lingered like a shadow over the fleet. And somewhere deep in the void, it waited, patient, intelligent, unstoppable. The human fleet was quiet now, but the silence was tense, heavy with anticipation. The Dark Warship had vanished into the void, leaving a chilling memory in every crew member's mind. Commander Arlen stood on the bridge of the Intrepid, staring at the blinking lights of the fleet around him. Every ship bore the scars of the reconnaissance encounter, and every pilot knew that the enemy was waiting, calculating, learning. Arlen rubbed his temples. We need a plan. This warship isn't just a vessel, it's a predator. It adapts, predicts, and learns. If we attack recklessly, we lose everything. Lieutenant Joro leaned forward, frustration in his eyes. Sir, we have weapons, we have numbers. We can hit it hard, overwhelm it. Arlen shook his head. Not yet. We've seen what it can do. One wrong move, one misstep, it could destroy half the fleet before we even know it. Mara spoke up, her voice steady but grim. Commander, I've analyzed the data from the reconnaissance pod. The ship, it's part organic, part machine. Its systems are alive. Every attack we make, it evolves. Our strategies, our formations, our weapons, they're feeding it knowledge. We need to fight smarter, not harder. Arlen nodded. Then we build a trap. We make it think we're weak, exposed. We sacrifice small, expendable units to test its responses. And when it moves, we strike where it least expects. The fleet spent hours preparing. Tactical officers drew battle grids on holographic tables, plotting maneuvers that could confuse the enemy. Drones were modified to act as decoys, luring the dark ship into areas where human firepower could hit with maximum effect. Engineers worked tirelessly to reinforce shields, upgrade weaponry, and develop countermeasures against the ship's adaptive systems. But while the fleet prepared, a quiet unease grew among the ranks. Some crew members whispered about the dark ship, saying it was intelligent, almost sentient. Others doubted the loyalty of their own. After all, the reconnaissance mission had shown just how easily the enemy adapted. Could someone have sabotaged them from within? Arlen ignored the murmurs. Focus on the mission. Humanity survives by strategy and courage, not fear. The first sign of the Dark Warship's return came at twilight in orbit. A single sensor ping, a ripple in the void, alerted the fleet. The shadow emerged slowly from hyperspace, massive and dark, edges shimmering with alien energy. Drones swarmed ahead, probing. The warship moved like a living predator, deliberate, calculating. Battle stations. Arlen's voice echoed through the fleet. Remember, stay disciplined. We're testing it. We're learning. And we strike only when the opportunity is perfect. The first wave of engagement was chaos. Human ships fired cautiously, testing the ship's defenses. The Dark Warship responded instantly, adaptive shields flaring to absorb attacks. Drones darted between ships, disabling engines and weapons. Casualties were high. Explosions lit the black void as ships were torn apart by energy blasts far beyond human design. Amid the battle, a more insidious threat emerged. Lieutenant Joro noticed subtle anomalies in the fleet's communication. Orders were being delayed, misdirected, or ignored entirely. Sir, he said urgently to Arlen, someone is interfering with our commands. We're being sabotaged from inside. Arlen's eyes narrowed. Who? Who would do this? Before Joro could answer, a missile struck the flagship's rear hull. Systems flickered. Alarm screamed. The bridge shook violently. Divert power to shields. Full countermeasures. Arlen barked. He realized a horrifying truth. The Dark Warship was not just attacking. They were being guided into traps by someone within. Meanwhile, Mara analyzed the wreckage and sensor data. Commander, the saboteur, it's one of our own. Someone with access to fleet codes and weapon systems. They've been feeding the dark ship information, predicting our moves. Shock rippled across the bridge. How long? Arlen asked, voice cold. Not long, but enough to cause significant losses. Joro clenched his fists. Then we need to isolate them. Now. Otherwise, we're finished. The battle raged on. Human pilots executed daring maneuvers, dodging swarms of drones while trying to protect the fleet's vulnerable ships. The Dark Warship was relentless, analyzing and adapting at a terrifying pace. Amidst the chaos, Arlen made a daring decision. Deploy the decoy fleet, lure it into the canyon of asteroids near the planet's equator. Our weapons can reach it there, and it won't expect our ambush. The decoy fleet, a small contingent of older, lightly armed ships, accelerated forward, drawing the Dark Warship's attention. Mara monitored the energy readings nervously. It's following. All drones are in pursuit. Shields are holding, but barely. As the Dark Warship moved into the asteroid canyon, human weapon systems activated. Missiles launched from hidden positions. Laser turrets fired from concealed stations. The dark ship's shields flared violently, absorbing attacks. But cracks began to appear. Focus fire on the weakened sections, Arlen ordered. Now! Explosions rocked the Dark Warship. Energy bursts lit the asteroid field like fireworks. But just as victory seemed near, Mara's console beeped urgently. Commander, another anomaly. The saboteur has redirected a critical system. Our fleet's shields are compromised. Arlen's heart sank. We've been betrayed inside the fleet. Identify them now. Sensors tracked a small shuttle moving suspiciously close to critical command modules. Lieutenant Joro's eyes widened. It's Terran. He's been feeding data to the dark ship. Every move, every tactic. We're fighting blind. Arlen's voice was ice. Lock him down. Cut communications. Divert all power from his console. Now! The crew worked frantically, isolating Terran before he could do more damage. His shuttle attempted to flee, but human interceptors cut him off. A brief skirmish ensued, ending with Terran being captured and the evidence of his sabotage secured. The Dark Warship, sensing the disruption, retreated slightly, giving the fleet a small reprieve. Arlen knew the fight was far from over, but at least now, the human fleet had regained a measure of control. Damage report. Arlen demanded. Shields at 40%. Mara replied. Several ships destroyed. But the dark ship's retreat gives us time to regroup. Arlen turned to Joro and Lyra. We've learned its weaknesses. Its predictability depends on our errors. Now we plan again. We fight smarter next time. Humanity survives not because we are stronger, but because we endure, adapt, and strike with precision. The fleet limped through space, battered but alive. Every crew member knew the cost of the day's battle. The Dark Warship had tested them. Forced sacrifices revealed vulnerabilities, but it had also shown them that humanity's courage, ingenuity, and willpower could withstand even the most terrifying adversary. In the quiet after the storm, Arlen stood alone on the bridge, staring at the void. The stars were distant, cold, and indifferent. Somewhere, the Dark Warship waited. It would return, and when it did, the human fleet would be ready, but at what cost? The cost of survival was not just measured in ships or lives lost. It was measured in strategy, sacrifice, and the unbreakable resolve to face darkness without flinching. Humanity had survived its first true encounter with the unknown, but the war had only just begun. And somewhere deep in the void, the Dark Warship pulsed with life, studying, learning, waiting for the next human mistake. The fleet hovered at the edge of the planetary system, battered but alive. Silence had returned, but it was a tense, suffocating silence. Commander Arlen paced the bridge of the Intrepid, his eyes fixed on the stars. Somewhere in the void, the Dark Warship waited. They could feel it, almost like a heartbeat in the blackness. Sir, Lieutenant Joro said, breaking the quiet, we've received scattered signals from the colony. Survivors. Some are hiding, some trapped. They need us now. Arlen clenched his fists. Then we end this. No more waiting, no more probing. Tonight, we face the darkness. Mara leaned over the console, scanning data from the previous battles. Commander, I've analyzed everything from our encounters. The warship, it's not just alien. Part of it is human technology, modified, corrupted, merged with unknown energy systems. Whoever built it, someone wants to test us. Test us or destroy us, Joro muttered. Arlen nodded grimly. Either way, we can't run. Prepare the fleet for full engagement. All ships, weapons ready. Shields at maximum. This ends tonight, or we don't survive tomorrow. The Dark Warship appeared suddenly, emerging from hyperspace like a shadow ripping through reality. The human fleet braced as drones swarmed ahead, scanning, probing, and striking with terrifying speed. Formation Delta, Arlen commanded. Decoy units forward. Main fleet hidden behind asteroid belt. Wait for my signal. Ships surged forward, engines flaring. The decoy fleet moved boldly, baiting the Dark Warship into the asteroid canyon. Energy blasts lit the void as drones attacked, but the decoy ships held their course, drawing the enemy deeper into the trap. Inside the asteroid belt, the fleet waited, weapons primed, heartbeats synchronized with the distant stars. Every system hummed, every crew member tense, aware that one mistake could end humanity's hope. Suddenly, the Dark Warship unleashed a pulse of energy, hitting the asteroids. Rocks shattered, explosions rocked the field, and the decoy ship staggered under the force. It's testing us, Mara said. It wants to see our reactions. Stay calm, Arlen ordered. Wait for the opening. Strike when it overextends. And then it came. The Dark Warship's massive hull shifted unnaturally, exposing weak points in its energy shields. Missiles launched from hidden positions, laser turrets fired in unison, and for the first time, the human fleet landed a meaningful blow. The warship shuddered, energy flares illuminating its blackened hull. But the victory was short-lived. The Dark Warship adapted instantly. New drones appeared, faster, smarter, predicting human tactics. Ships were disabled one by one. Explosions tore through the fleet, screams echoing across comms. Amid the chaos, Arlen realized the truth. Brute force wouldn't work. They needed a strike from within. Prepare the boarding team, he commanded. I'm going aboard that ship myself. Joro's eyes widened. Commander, it's suicide. Arlen shook his head. It's the only way to end this. The ship is alive, intelligent. We need its core, its control system. We need answers. A shuttle detached from a flagship, weaving past drones and energy blasts. Arlen, Joro, Lyra, and Mara led the boarding team. They approached the warship's hull, which pulsed faintly, almost breathing. The docking bay opened slowly, inviting, or perhaps luring them in. The corridor inside was dark, metallic, alive with faint pulses of energy. The walls seemed to move slightly, adjusting to their presence. This is alive, Mara whispered. It's watching, anticipating. They moved carefully, scanning every corridor. Shadows shifted. Drones appeared suddenly and disappeared just as fast. The ship reacted to every step, every movement. Then they reached the central chamber, a massive core, pulsating with black and blue energy. The air felt heavy, almost sentient. The crew's scanners went haywire as they approached. Joro's voice trembled. It's alive, not just a ship. Something is controlling it, maybe inside it. Suddenly, a figure appeared, partially human, partially machine, suspended within the core. Its eyes glowed faintly, and it spoke with a voice both mechanical and alive. You should not have come. Arlen stepped forward, weapon raised. Who are you? What do you want? The figure laughed, a sound like grinding metal. I am the culmination of human ambition and alien technology. A test, a weapon, and you are part of it now. Mara's scanner beeped frantically. Commander, the energy readings. It's feeding on our fear, our tactics, even our biology. It learns faster than we can adapt. Arlen clenched his teeth. Then we stop it, whatever it takes. The figure's eyes glowed brighter. You cannot stop evolution. You cannot survive what is coming. And then the chamber shook violently. Energy, pulses lashed out, hurling the boarding team against the walls. Mara's console sparked, Joro staggered, and Lyra barely held on. "Focus on the core!" Arlen shouted. "If we destroy it, the ship dies." They fired everything at the pulsating heart, energy beams tearing into the core. The figure screamed, a mix of human and machine, its form flickering. The ship shuddered violently, corridors collapsing, drones exploding in every direction. Just when it seemed the core would stabilize, Mara discovered a shocking truth. Hidden inside the core was a human mind, merged with alien tech. It was someone from the past, a genius who had disappeared decades ago, now transformed into this weapon. "Commander, it's one of us," Mara gasped. A human, turned into a living warship. Arlen's jaw tightened. "Then we free them, or destroy them. Humanity comes first." With a final coordinated strike, the boarding team focused all their energy on the core. The chamber erupted in light. The ship shuddered violently, and the figure screamed one last time before vanishing. The Dark Warship systems collapsed. Drones ceased movement. Energy pulses faded. The hull cracked, shattering into space debris, drifting silently against the black void. But as the human fleet regrouped, relief was short-lived. Sensor detected a faint signal deep in the void, a dark pulse, distant but unmistakable. Arlen stared at the stars, his expression grim. "It's not over. That warship, it was only a fragment. Something larger, something worse, is out there, and it knows we survived." Mara's voice was tense. "Commander, we need to return to Earth. Warn them. Prepare for what's coming." Arlen nodded slowly. "We fight. We endure. Humanity does not hide from darkness. Not now. Not ever. But we prepare, because the true war is only beginning." The fleet moved away, leaving the shattered warship behind. But in the shadows of space, something stirred. Energy pulses flickered faintly, almost like a heartbeat. And somewhere beyond the edge of sensors, another dark presence waited, patient, intelligent, and unstoppable. The stars shone cold and distant. Humanity had survived, yes, but the universe had already begun its next move. And somewhere in the infinite darkness, a new shadow began to rise.